Hello everyone, welcome to GoLocal Live. I'm arts and entertainment host Ava Gaudette, and it is Tuesday, so I am here for my hour of arts and entertainment news. I have a jam-packed show today, very female-centric, which I love. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. My first guest here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center is Cara Andrews. Hi Cara, how are you?
Hi, how are you doing today?
Great. So Cara is an award-winning face painter and body painter. She created art on the spot, and she's going to be involved in Revel Fest 18, who we had Richard Davia on the show last week to talk about Revel Fest, so we'll definitely talk about that. I'd love to just start with kind of your background in art and how you came to develop art on the spot.
Sure. I've been doing art ever since I could pick up a pencil. I think I came out of the womb with a pencil and a crayon.
Drawing.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love to draw on walls, different things. So I always loved art, and my mother had, oddly enough, put my brother in art lessons when we were growing up. And I was always the one who wanted to draw. So later on, I really didn't take art lessons until probably after high school and into college. So
Interesting.
Also a scientist, a little bit of Da Vinci. So I went to school for art and science, and for a while was actually a chemist assistant for the FDA.
Wow, yeah, that's a shift.
I had a really cool friend named Hamid Dawoodi, and he knew that I loved art, and he said, "You don't belong here. You need to go to art. You need to do something with yourself that's going to complement who you are." And I said, "Oh, okay, good idea." So I decided to open up a children's art studio called Art on the Spot. Well, I didn't have enough money at the time, so I was like, maybe I'll travel to home. So I'm going to bring my art to the spot. So it's also an old Italian saying. And so I said, all right, Art on the Spot would be an interesting name. So I, saved my money, opened up a place, and now I've been open for about 17 years.
That's amazing.
So that's just the art side, but before that, back in high school, I helped with theater and different things for makeup and scene design and everything else. So when I started doing the studio, we also did birthday parties. So not only were we doing lessons and different things, but birthday parties, and people asked me if I did face painting. So I said, oh, I can do,
like if I can paint a piece of paper, I can probably paint a
well,
face.
I did some theater and makeup back in
there
high
you go.
school, so I can do this, So we started doing more professional face painting and going to conferences and different things, and that's where I started all the face painting, the body painting.
Yeah.
And my first conference, actually, I flew to Scotland. Of all places.
Wow, I know.
I looked it up online because that's what the internet was new. And I said, oh, let's check this thing out. And I said, oh, I can go to Scotland to learn more face painting. So that was really cool. And it took off from there, and more conferences and, more competitions. And then I started to teach and do more competitions. And I won a few different prizes. First place Masters in Las Vegas, and first place in the Northeastern Conference.
So cool. Yeah, I love how it sort of evolved into that your artwork sort of led you to this kind of specific type of thing of body painting and face painting.
Yeah, it's really interesting where your path will take you. So if you just try new things, and I'm still an art teacher, I still teach children, but my face painting and body painting has become my second full-time job.
Amazing, right? Is it one full-time job wasn't enough?
No, and then, I do other art, so it's kind of like, I just say many hats. Instead of saying 3 or 4 full-time jobs, I just wear many hats as an artist. So.
Different facets.
Yes, definitely.
The body painting and face painting, as you were saying, sort of evolved for you, but what are the, as an artist who has studied art, what are the different skills that are required for that particular kind of art? I mean, obviously you're very good at it, you're award-winning, so what is the difference there?
Really the canvas.
Right.
The canvas is the difference. It's, instead of paint and paper, it's paint and skin. And, there are brushes involved, and there's different types of paints, of course, because safety is a huge issue in the face and body painting community, and we don't use acrylic paints on the skin. We don't use any oils, of course, and different things of that nature. There are a lot of paints that are specifically made for the skin. And the beauty industry, makeup industry, and body paint industry have really stepped up their game in having a higher standard and quality in paints for the body.
Right.
So there's brushes, sponges, stencils. You can use airbrush. A lot of people use airbrush for body painting now, and have for a while, but it's become more popular in recent years. And so I particularly am a brush and sponge person, but I do use airbrush on occasion.
Right.
So it's really more about just shifting to a different canvas than it is.
We're going to show this while we're talking about this, because this entire outfit, I don't know if you can see it from where you are, is all body paint, which is incredible.
Yeah. She, I have to say, just the pants are not paint. I was inspired by her pants. This was a piece down in New Orleans. I go to a conference every year called Lafette in New Orleans, and we gather as a group and we do some amazing painting, and we have a fantastic photographer named Uncle Phil, Mr. Phil Brown. And so we spend about 4, 5, 6 hours on creating these works. We might sketch them out on paper real quick, or sometimes it just pops out of our minds. And I had one other person helping me paint this. I had an assistant. And
it still takes 5 or 6 hours, even with someone else's help.
It does, because, you know, people have to rest. The model, you know, can't stand
true.
for that long. Yeah, you might have to give her some water,
Yeah.
or let her go to
a
the
bathroom break or
room.
something.
But it's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
now,
let's see the other one.
This one over here was also a fantastic piece that we did in New Orleans.
Really cool.
So this was a small group of us, my friend Nora and Mike, and I believe Jan helped me out with this one. And I had a t-shirt on that had some little monsters in it, inspired me. So I pull from everywhere. One of my faces, which I unfortunately don't have a picture of right now, but from Las Vegas, my award-winning face, I got a couple of ideas from an Outback Steakhouse. I had some pictures on the wall, and I said, oh, look at that, it looks very aboriginal. So I took some of those pictures and created a piece from that, and I won first place in Las Vegas.
Amazing.
So we can you know, get ideas from all different sources, which is really fantastic.
And so you take this artwork, not just, you know, like you said, you do children's parties and you kind of take it everywhere, but obviously some of these other pieces are a little more adult, if you will.
Of course, they are for a different reason, yeah.
Right, exactly. And you've taken this artwork to PVD Fest and Revel Fest, of course.
Of course.
Revel Fest started last year. This is the second annual, and I believe you did the Revel Goddess last year.
I did.
Okay.
I did. My inspiration for that was a lot of times I use a lot of natural sources, and I started with a series because I knew Revel Fest was going to be annually. I started with metal, one of the elements, and this year we're actually going to do earth. So I'm going to create an earth goddess from that. Because we do have a belly dancer who will be, you know, in the paint and the headdress and everything, and I thought belly dance is very, you know, kind of the traditionally fertility dance and different things, and so fertility in the earth, and so that's where I got my inspiration from.
Right. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And so the art is being done in real time at the event.
It is. I will be painting live. So we have a little area roped off, and what I'll do is I will have her first coat on.
Good.
And excuse me. And people will be able to come in and watch us in action. So we'll be able to see how we contour and highlight and mold and shape the body and the design.
Is there added pressure that people are going to be watching you do this, or are you able to sort of zone people out and just continue doing your thing?
I usually will get into a zone.
Yeah.
I'll zone people out. People will ask me questions, and I'll be like, yes,
Yeah, right.
Yes.
I don't want to get into it right
no,
now.
I can talk and paint at the same time.
Okay,
It's
cool.
not too bad. We just will have it roped off though, as long as people don't come too close and.
Right. No touching. No touching the
No
artwork.
touching, don't touch the art. No, don't do it.
People should be used to
It's a
that
bad
by
thing.
now. Yeah. So then you have to kind of have her ready by a certain time. Is that right? So do you have this
Yeah.
all kind of planned out of how you're going to do this?
I do. Usually when I have a plan, usually when I'm going to do something of this nature, I have to have a plan because you can't show up and decide to do a 4-hour paint and go, what am I
Right.
going to do? So of course I find a theme. So I have my theme, which
Mhm.
is the elements and earth. And what I do is I will start doing sketching. I'll sketch out different ideas, brainstorm, and like any other creative facet. And so once I have my idea, I will start to play with the designs and paint, and I'll do a color study, and like anything in art, you want to have a design plan. So once I'm there, I'll set up my table and I'll have all my colors. I also do costuming.
Oh, cool.
So like last year for the Revel Goddess.
Yeah, sure. Let's check it out.
Just check this out.
This is part of her headdress.
This was part of her headdress,
Amazing.
which
And so you made this
I made
to
this.
go with. Oh wow.
Yeah, I created out of feathers and foam and the ever-loving hot glue.
Gotta love some
Everybody
hot glue
loves
gun.
hot glue.
Yes.
So it was very cool. So it's just a headband, and we just attached
Really
a
cool.
really cool headpiece, and made her some different costuming, a skirt and different things, and she just came to life. So
Amazing.
yeah, it helps too when you have fantastic photographers.
Yeah, to
They-
capture the
They
whole
always
thing.
capture it. So.
Absolutely, yeah. They have some beautiful pictures of last year's Revel Goddess.
Yes, definitely.
So-
On the website, there's on revelfest.com. There's a whole bunch of cool pictures.
Yeah. So Revel Fest, of course, is this weekend if you want to go check it out. I want to talk a little bit more about art on the spot because you guys do more than just body painting. I love, obviously you teach classes there. That's the whole point of the
Yeah,
studio.
yeah.
You teach all different kinds of classes for
Yeah,
kids.
we do painting, pastel, drawing, earth clay, polymer clay, textiles, all sorts of things. And so we also have summer camps and different things of sewing and painting and everything, and the kids, just the whole gambit, because the kids actually drive me to where I should teach, and they're like, oh, we want to learn more about painting, so I actually do more painting because I'm really child driven.
Right. Oh, that's really cool. I'm going to bring this guy up for you.
Sure.
Because one of the things you do
Here.
is balloon sculpture. I love this guy.
Yeah, it's another job. I
So fun.
for birthday parties, because I do a lot of the face painting. The real quick story is I face painted for many years before I started doing balloons because people would call me and say, do you do balloons? Do you do balloons? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing balloons.
You're like, I better start doing
So
balloons.
one day a woman called and she's, do you do balloons? I said, when's the party? And she's like, in 2 weeks. And I said, yes, I do. And so I learned
Amazing.
a bunch of balloons in 2 weeks. And then I just kept going and expanding my repertoire. And I probably can do over 300 different balloons now.
That is incredible. And I saw a
So-
picture of this massive balloon sculpture you did
Mhm.
of a Chinese dragon. It's
Yes.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I went to a conference in Las Vegas called Twist and Shout. It's a fantastic conference. And we learned how to do some giant balloon costuming from my good friend Carolyn Heyman. And she is wonderful. And so she inspired me to create a giant costume. Well, there were so many children who wanted to be a part of it. I said, it's not going to be a costume. We're going to carry him. So we did a giant Chinese dragon, and the children all carried him, and we had a giant parade at the farmers market, the Pawtucket Farmers Market at Hope Artist Village. And after that, it was all done. They just raved about it, and
Oh my
he
gosh.
found a home at the Middleborough Library, and he's actually still alive. He's still up on their wall.
Oh, I love it.
So it's very cool. But
So he's there until they pop.
he's there until he
Basically.
deflates.
Yes.
Until he deflates.
I love that everything you do is so whimsical. Was there anything about your goals as an artist that wanted to do something kind of youthful or even working with kids?
Yeah, I mean, we have a huge family. Huge family. We have 26 grandchildren, 13 great grandchildren.
Oh my goodness.
3 on the way.
Kids everywhere.
Kids everywhere. Kids have always been a part of our life, and it's not like it's our life with kids. It's just life is with kids.
Yeah.
And so there's a big difference in our family where, so, you know, I'm around kids and with kids and doing things for kids 24/7, but there's no separation to that. It's just
Yeah.
a part of life. But I'm a comic book fan. I do the Providence Comic Con every year with face painting.
Cool.
I've worked with, you know, Hasbro and Roger Williams Zoo and Pawtucket Red Sox and all sorts of different things. And it's always just fun and whimsical. And some of my heroes are like Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of just funny, crazy people. So I really love that whimsy, that odd and whimsical sort of feel to my art.
Definitely keeps life interesting, and
Oh, yeah.
it must be easy to love what you do when
Keeps
you get
me
to
young.
do this. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a little one myself, and it's amazing how much you know you remember to play and have fun when you're around kids.
Yeah, all of mine are older now. I actually have 2 grandchildren, and so
No,
I
you
play with
definitely
them.
don't seem old enough to have grandchildren.
Yes, I do. But you know what? I love them, and my little guy is going to be 4, and just everything I do. Like for Easter, I was we had the Easter bunny and everything else.
Oh, awesome.
You know, just every time he comes to my house, he's like, Grammy, make me a balloon, and so.
How awesome that you can do that for them.
Yeah.
You know, special skills.
Yeah, I'm a
you know?
grandma, I tell you what.
Yeah. So great. Cara, thank you so much for being here. If you guys want info on Art on the Spot, the programs that they offer, we'll have everything available at golocalprov.com. And of course, if you want to see Cara in action this weekend, Revel Fest, she will be creating the Revel Goddess live in real time. You get to see what she does. It sounds amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're going to have a very quick pause. We're going to set up for my next guest, so stick around. Hey everyone, welcome back to Go Local Live. I am Ava Gaudette, and my next guest here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center is Kira Hawkridge. Hi, Kira.
Hello.
Kira is Artistic Director and founder of Out Loud Theater. So excited to finally have you on the show. I've been working on this one for a while. Yeah. Out Loud is experimental, immersive, really different for what we have kind of here. We have a lot of theaters, you know, this is something very specific. So I just want to talk a little bit about how you founded this. It was right out of college.
Yeah.
Just so gutsy. So talk to us a little bit about why you wanted to create a theater company like Out Loud.
Well, it's so interesting because I graduated from the University of Rhode Island in 2012, and we didn't really have huge aspirations to create a specific type of theater company. We wanted to keep working and learning together, and so Out Loud really started with a group of URI grads wanting to create some of our own work and see where it took us. And so the first year we were experimenting, we did different projects, we did All Hail Hurricane Gordo by Carly Mensch, and it was really exciting to be able to work together. And then from that experience, we had some opportunities to tour around the area. And one of the things was to do This Is Free Providence, which is at the Mathewson Street Theater, which is where we're residents now.
Right.
And the prompt for that project was to create something socially relevant that we connected to. And so we did The Most Massive Woman Wins. And the project itself was so exciting because we were able to really connect into what our aesthetic is now, which is this movement-oriented aesthetic. And so from that, we really were able to organically grow to where we are now. And that project really set us in motion.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was at all calculated that Out Loud does sort of fill a void here in our theater community, or if it was just something that was just naturally how it just evolved into something that it is now.
That's such a fantastic question, because I think for us, we were really grateful that our authentic voice was able to have a place that sort of set us apart within the community, because there's so much fantastic theater and arts happening in Providence and in Rhode Island. And so to be able to tap into that aesthetic was something that organically came from our ensemble. But again, we're really psyched that it was something we were able to fill within the community.
Yeah, definitely. This is sort of just a question that I, have. Being a theater that is known for being avant-garde and edgy, is there pressure from, to make sure you're like pushing the envelope enough or being creative enough, or does that just come naturally for you?
Well, I think what's really interesting about being in that position, it's one of our collaborators at one point, we did Rhinoceros, and the group created like a human rhino, and he was like, "What are you gonna do now? How are you
you can never beat that.
How are you gonna top the human rhino?" But I think that it's a personal goal for our ensemble to keep challenging ourselves as well as challenging the work that we're doing, and so that pressure, I think, is something that definitely fuels us to keep digging into what we do and to not ever settle or plateau or feel like we found our aesthetic and that's it. We want to continually build on what we've created. And so I think that is a huge reason why we decided to do this season and to have a restorative 6-month process with our ensemble. Each year has a different theme, it has a different energy, it's able to connect to a different side of the people that we're working with. And so I think that's something that we really love about working in this area, is how we can keep building on what we've done before.
Sure. So yeah, since we got there, let's talk about the season. 6th season, and there's a theme for each season that you guys develop.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what the theme is this year.
So this year we are focusing on an exploration of fantasy and unreality, and it's season 6, Seeing is Believing. And the 3 projects that we're working on in Rep are Wonder, Escape, and Dream. And they will all be presented in June, and they all focus on this idea of fantasy and unreality. And each one has a different portal into another world.
Do they kind of support each other in the sense that you kind of need to see all 3 to get the big picture, or is it individual? Like you can get the experience with each one?
I think that it is a full experience if you go to see only one of the productions, but it allows, I think, a different perspective if you experience all 3. You can see how they're in conversation with each other.
Sure, yeah.
But you can definitely come to see one and feel like that's a full experience on its own.
Yeah. So this season, it sounds like it was extremely collaborative with your ensemble. How does that work when you're getting ideas from a group of people, as opposed to like, I'm the artistic director and this is what we're going to do?
Yeah.
How do you work out that creative process?
I think that's definitely something that we've built year by year, and we learn from each other as we go. But one of my favorite things is being able to have a prolonged period of time to be able to talk as a group. We created an area in our workspace that we called the living room, and we sat and we talked with each other, and just sort of got information about what was inspiring people within the work, and through that we sort of build the process organically, and every time it's a little bit different, but really collaborative in the sense that each person is bringing their own aesthetic to the table, and then it creates the same story. So it's definitely something that we learn and grow as we go. but really exciting to be able to incorporate everyone's voice and then find a common ground that we're able to push forward together. So that definitely takes time, but
yeah, I mean, to me, it's like you could run into the issue of sort of too many cooks in the kitchen, unless it sounds like you guys are just really on the same wavelength of what you like, where the directions you kind of want to go with these pieces.
And I think that's another really great point of like too many cooks in the kitchen, because I think coming into the process with an ensemble-oriented energy already puts us in a position of, okay, everything that we're doing we want to put forward to benefit the work that we're creating, and so everyone has been really generous and has a really great sense of what we're building together, and each piece clicks together to create something that's all of ours, as well as it's the many beings, one being. Everyone has an individual responsibility and connection, but this larger project that we're creating together.
Absolutely. I would love to kind of talk through the season,
Yeah.
talk a little bit about each piece, because they're all so interesting. Let's talk about Wonder. This is sort of an adaptation, I guess, of Alice in Wonderland. Sounds really, really cool. Tell us about this piece experience.
So Wonder is a sort of meditation on imagination, and we've pulled themes and characters from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland and created a hybrid of a installation piece and a performance art piece. And so audiences come in and experience different realities within our space and can move through these different environments that we've created, these different installations that our ensemble is designed, built, and
How
performed in.
amazing. So they're actually, because I saw some of the pictures on your website, which, by the way, the photos on your website, fabulous.
That
Really beautiful.
Justine M. Johnson from Piquant Photo is our photographer, our collaborative partner, and she's amazing. Our partnership
really, really good.
is just, I love working with her because I think her vision has become something that's part of now our DNA, and
Totally.
a way to like allow audiences in to see a different aspect of our creative process before they come and see the show. So
For sure.
definitely.
And I
Piquant
really
Photo, I can't say no.
I know. I really feel like just going to the website and seeing the photo, it's almost like its own art. It's instead of just sort of candids of people rehearsing or, candid shots of the production, it's its own, I don't know, it's saying something. It's really, really cool. So anyway, pictures. They're sculptures and different artworks, and it's your ensemble creating this. You didn't hire artists to come in and do this. I'm like, these people are very talented. My goodness.
Well, ambitious. Yes. I think what's been really cool about this season as well is that we're challenging ourselves, going back to what we were talking about before, challenging ourselves to learn new skills and to incorporate inspirations from the community and from different artists, and how we can make that our own. And so whether that's something that's visual, movement related, or literary, we can take all of those pieces and create something brand new. And so everyone has been working together and obviously owning their own environments, but each environment has a different thing to say and a different way to experience it, and they all connect as you go through.
It sounds so cool. So the second production is Escape. Tell us about that one.
So Escape is our first official world premiere. It's the first thing that we've developed that has no original source material.
Oh, wow.
So usually when we're devising pieces, it comes from a poem or a story or an existing public domain piece, but this is something that we created fully with our group, and it's about the journey and nature of grief and loss, and two of our ensemble members are playing twins, and one of the twins passes away, and it's about the female twins, her experience and her journey through this loss. And so her twin brother is on stage the whole time, and they engage with each other, and there are different core relationships and it's a movement piece as well, so there's no language. Her mother, her therapist, and her partner, and how her experience through this loss affects and connects to the different people in her life.
That sounds lovely. Last piece in the trilogy is Dream. Tell us a little bit about that one.
So Dream is based on William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, and our piece is really taking the forest as the element of unreality. And so Athens, the humans and the fairies, etc., how that all connects to our overarching theme of
Right.
going from reality into the state of unreality and then back to reality. So that's a theme that sort of continues through all of them, but really is present within dreams. So the forest is something totally new, and we're really excited about it.
It sounds so fascinating. So, as I said, each season has its own theme. Last year's theme was madness.
Yes.
And so I wondered, what is it like to immerse yourself in a theme like that for, the entire length of the season, which is 3 shows? Do you get sort of wrapped up? I mean, you're kind of like inside the mind of Mad Men, and is it sort of like, what is that like?
So it's definitely something that, again, with each theme that we have, each process that we have, really allowing ourselves to sink into that. And I think it definitely requires a lot of like self-care, of especially delving into something like mental illness and connecting to what madness means. That was something that each piece had its own cast, it had its own aesthetic, but is a really wonderful opportunity to work with the same group and to build that ensemble around a similar topic, and you can learn a lot within that theme as well. So there's a lot of research and conversations that happen outside of what people would see in a show that I think is just a great learning experience and tools that we can use as we move forward.
Definitely. And one of the, I love talking about this. It seems a lot of people in our community have these sort of family relationships. I'm one, you're another. Your parents are theater people. They ran Newgate Theater for years and years, and you got to work with your dad in King Lear in last season.
Yes.
What is it like kind of coming from that lineage, and what was it like working with your dad at your own theater?
Well, it's really cool actually, because you mentioned Newgate, and Newgate was in the space we're in now. So
that's
it's
amazing.
Really full circle for us to be at Mathewson, which is where Newgate was. But I think working with my dad was such a wonderful experience, and working on that piece was so rewarding. I think my dad and I have always had a really good working relationship, and so it was just a really special experience to be able to devise something alongside him and have the opportunity to continue to learn from him, but then also to collaborate with my own vision, and so that was really cool. And I obviously love working with my mom as well. She's in Escape.
Oh, great!
So she's playing
cool.
the mother. So my family, as I get older, I appreciate more and more being able to have grown up in the theater and learned from them and be in the classroom and see their work. And a lot of their students say that my work is sort of a combination of the two of them. If you took half of my mom's work, half of my dad's, put that together, it's this sort of fusion. So it's been really neat.
Oh, that's so cool. They must be very proud of you.
My family.
So and then I have to bring this up, because unless I'm missing something, you are the only female artistic director. Or am I missing another one?
There's definitely a couple more, but it's not something that is as common.
Yeah.
And so we want more female artistic directors out there. And it's crazy to feel like when we started Out Loud, I think we're one of the only ones, and 6 years later we're still one of the only. Like there's definitely female artistic directors out there in the community, but the platform I think needs to be boosted for female artists, and that's something that we want. That's always been part of our mission and continues to be part of our mission, is promoting and creating a platform for female artists to be able to work on stage, off stage. Our relationship with Justine and her photography company, like that's something that's really important to our identity as well.
Really cool. Well, Kira, thank you so much for being here today. I loved being able to talk to you about this. We will have all the information at golocalprov.com for Out Loud's upcoming season, if you want to go ahead and check it out. Once again, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take another quick pause, and I will be right back with my next guest. Hey everyone, welcome back to GoLocal Live. I'm Arts and Entertainment host Ava Gaudette, and my next guest here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center is Christina Bevilacqua. Hi Christina, how are you?
Hi Ava, nice to see you.
Good to see you as well. She is Programs and Exhibitions Director for the Providence Public Library, among other things. But we're here to talk about this program that is currently running. It's a 4-month program called Hairbrained, about sort of hair and its role in our culture and society. And it's very, very interesting. I'd love to know about how this program was developed.
Well, I started at Providence Public Library in November, and when I got there, the fantastic curatorial staff had already been working on this theme. We do a program and exhibition series every spring, exhibition program series every spring, and the theme is chosen ahead of time, and frequently the idea is to look in our collections, what are some of the strengths we have in our special collections. And the idea of hair came up because it's something that everyone has. And as you said, it is part of our culture, our religion, our self-expression. It comes into politics. There are all these different ways that we can think about hair and interpret the world around us through the way that hair has been treated throughout history, really.
Right. And so when this is, I think it's 4th year, when you had the task of figuring out how you're going to handle this subject, and there are different people that are coming in for workshops and discussions, how did you decide what topics you wanted to cover and who you were going to contact? It's a pretty broad subject, but also specific in some ways.
Exactly. And I was very conscious of realizing that we all have different relationships to our hair, and again, the idea that there are different cultural traditions around hair and ways of thinking about hair. Hair can be a real flashpoint for some political and religious issues, even that we're dealing with today, not just in history. So I really wanted to try to do, to get as many people in and have lots of different things for people to choose from. I think when we first think about hair, we think of it as fashion, but it's so much more than that. So we are doing some fashion things. We had a wonderful fashion blogger last night, so that was great, but we're also doing some more serious things as well.
Yeah, some of the ones I noticed for this month, because it's a 4-month program, so each month has a few different...
Yes, we've had almost one a week, almost,
wow.
I think, yeah.
So some of the topics were a writing, hair and identity writing workshop, which I think is really cool. Art history, of course, we're going to be talking with Emily about the hair and wigs historically for theater. So lots of different topics, and all sort of with a creative swing, I feel.
That's probably true. I mean, I think PPL, our programming we have on our curatorial staff, Angela DeValia is our curatorial assistant, and she works really closely with the arts community in Providence. And of course, this is an arts and culture city. We pride ourselves on that. We work closely with AS220. We have lots of creative people in our community. And I think also our programming tends to, we look at a collection of artists, scholars, and community practitioners. And so that's what the mix has been. And that gives a lot of different perspectives. In addition to different subjects, it's different ways of looking at things.
Right.
So,
and there's also an exhibition portion of this. So there's something kind of set up at the library that you can go to. Tell us a little bit about that part of it.
Well, and this is our little beautiful... you won't be able to see that well, but this has images from the exhibition, and these images all are items from our collection, but it's also accompanied by poetry that was written, inspired by these images by Providence poet Susie Santana. So you can get one of these when you come to the exhibition, and the exhibition was the impetus and the inspiration for the programming. So again, the curators worked for months going through the collections and really looking at what were the themes that they saw, what kinds of things connected to other things. So the exhibition is in the Rhode Island room, and you can see it any time that the library is open. There are also a couple of cases up on the 3rd floor where we do programming, but it's an incredible range of things from different times and different cultures, and really, really fun to look at.
Yeah, it seems really interesting and so deep, you know, so many different levels to it. And there's a whole list of books and resources, things that you can sort of take out of the library if you want to learn more about a certain topic. So for the workshops, this is sort of just kind of a technical question. Is there a limitation to how many people can participate? Is there a sign-up process?
There is a sign-up process, actually, for all of the programs, just because that way, for instance, we've had to cancel several programs or reschedule this year because of snow, so it's always good to register because then we can get in touch with you. The only workshop that has a cost associated with it is one in May, on May, I'm going to forget the date. It's a workshop with an artist who's coming from New York who does Victorian hair work. And the Victorians did weaving with the hair of dead loved ones in order to make jewelry and also wall hangings. And that was a way of keeping them close. It was like a relic of the actual body. And she is going to be coming to do a workshop to teach how to do that. So that one does have a cost with it. But our other workshops, the one with Mary Kim Arnold that you mentioned on hair and identity, is free. You just need to sign up because there is a limit to that. And then Emily Christopherson, who you'll be speaking with, there's a bit of a limit to that just because of the size of where her workshop is at Trinity. We can't have hundreds of people, but yes, it's an easy sign-up process.
Sure, cool. We'll have all the information at golocalprov.com. I want to also talk about your work with Trinity Rep. You're a conversationalist in residence, which I think is so cool. Tell us, what does that mean and what do you do there?
Well, I was doing, before I was working at PPL, I was doing it a little more full-time at Trinity. Not full-time, but I was there a little bit more. But I'm still working there as conversationalist in residence with my wonderful colleague, Rebecca Noon, who is the head of community engagement at Trinity. And we are doing a program called Context and Conversation, one for each of the plays of the season, where the idea is that not just the people that come to see the play will appreciate it, but also there are ideas in all of these plays that are at work out in our community. So Rebecca and I look for themes in the plays, and then we look for places in the Providence and Rhode Island community where we can find those themes at work, and we pull together a conversation, pull together a panel, and then I moderate a conversation. And it's always someplace, it's not at the theater, it's out in the community, someplace that is connected with those themes. So it's great fun. And the one we have coming up for Native Gardens is April 22nd. It's a Sunday at Radia Farms. It's free and open to the public. And so that's going to be a really, really great one. You'll be out on this beautiful herb farm, and it's Earth Day, and so it'll be a great way to talk about the topics in the play.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. What a fun job.
It is fun. It is great fun, yes.
So Hairbrained will be at the Providence Public Library until June 30th, so you have some time to experience this, and of course we will have all the information for the workshops and discussions. So thank you so much, Christine, for being here today.
Thank you so much, Ava. We really appreciate it.
Yes, amazing exhibition, and I'm glad that we had the chance to talk about it. We do have Emily here, so we're going to pause, we're going to set up, and we'll come back in just a few minutes. Hello and welcome back to GoLocal Live. I am arts and entertainment host Ava Gaudette, and my next guest here is these ladies. No, Emily Christopherson, resident hair and wig artisan for Trinity Rep.
Yes.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we were just talking to Christina about the Hairbrained program at the Providence Public Library. This weekend, you're going to be doing a workshop on historical hair and wigs for theater, which
Yes.
I love. This is obviously something you know a lot about because this is your day-to-day.
Yeah, this is my career.
Yes.
Yeah, I got contacted from the library and they asked if I wanted to do a workshop. And I was like, absolutely, anyone that I can talk to about wigs, I will. I'll stop you on the street and talk to you about wigs. Perfect. So yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah.
So cool. So what is your background? How did you get into this as a career?
Yeah, well, I got my BFA in theater from Emporia State University, and I did some wig and hair design in undergrad, and then my husband and I moved to Iowa, and in Iowa City, I got my cosmetology license, and then from there, I told my friend who got her master's degree in wigs, and she works at the Guthrie, Trisha, she said, you need to go to American Players Theater, they will teach you how to make wigs. And so
Amazing.
I was there for 2 summers and I learned how to make wigs, and now I'm here at Trinity and this is my 3rd season and I love it. Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, I was thinking about this and how multifaceted the skill set has to be. So you need to know the history,
Yeah.
you need to know historically about the hair, but then you also need this sort of like hair styling
Yes, absolutely.
skills, you know,
Yeah.
cosmetology
Yeah,
type of
absolutely.
stuff. So yeah, a lot of different things had to go into being able to do this with so many different styles and eras and
Yeah.
things that you have to deal with.
Yeah, yeah, you end up learning a lot about how they would style their hair historically, what tools they had available for them for their different hair textures and types. All the way up into modern day with rocking out some 1980s hair from our production of Midsummer last year. So
Which is
yeah.
so recognizable. The
Yeah.
moment you brought it, I was like, I know that head. I know her.
Yeah.
Yeah, Midsummer. It was so amazing. Did you make this?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
This was a synthetic wig that we purchased. That then the process of it's called fronting. When you cut off half of the wig and you attach, you can barely see it,
Yeah,
but it's
the
this
lace.
fine lace, and you attach that, and then you hand tie every hair
Wow.
until you get a natural looking hairline. And I made this hairline for the actress that was going to be wearing it, so it matched her hairline perfectly, and it looked like it was growing out of her hair or out of her head. Yeah.
Unbelievable. How long is a process like that?
Every wig takes about 20 to 40 hours, depending on how much hand tying there is. When we do Christmas Carol, usually Scrooge has a wig,
Yeah.
and men's wigs, because they're so short, you can't really get away with having like wefts of hair in the back, where they're like
I see.
sewn
Yeah,
on
they're
the
like tracks. Yep.
So you need it to be completely hand tied, and that
Goodness.
that takes a long time. Yeah,
You've got to love wigs. To
I
sit there for
do.
20 hours and
I
make
do love it.
So, historical hairstyles, and this is what you're going to be touching upon in this workshop. You know, there weren't Instagram tutorials on how to do hairstyles from early.
Yeah.
So how do you learn? You know,
Oh,
you may
man.
see a picture of what a hairstyle like that looked like, but how do you learn how they actually made it happen, or is it trial and error?
It's a lot of trial and error. There is some written research that people have done. Now with how popular vintage hairstyles are, anywhere from like the 40s to present day, someone's made a YouTube video about how to style vintage hair. So
Cool.
those have been helpful, but it is a lot of trial and error,
Right.
especially with anything Victorian or 19th century. Like
Yeah.
the farther back you go, the more you have to look at the picture and just go, how would I execute this? And that's when just having years of styling experience comes in hand.
Yeah, you can sort of look at a picture and say, I could probably make it happen if I did this.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So fascinating. So let's talk about a couple more of these wigs we have. This one is gorgeous. Molly and I are fighting over this one.
Oh. For who gets to wear it home.
Yeah, who gets to wear it home?
I know, in this rain. So this is a wig that I made for an actress, Rachel DeLude. She was in Death of a Salesman, and she played the woman. And her hair color is pretty close to this one, but we wanted the woman to have, so when you're styling and designing wigs, you also want to think about the character who's going to be wearing it and what their background is and why they would have this hair.
Right.
And she, not to ruin the plot of the story, but she's the woman that Willie Loman is seeing on the side that his wife doesn't know about. And so we gave her these kind of Veronica Lake waves.
very glamorous.
Very glamorous. for her to have this youth and this beauty that he wasn't maybe seeing at home as much. And so this one, constructed, I bought the foundation and then sewed wefts all the way up the back, so it's wefted in the back.
Right.
And then hand tied in the front.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. How do you, so you handle hair and wigs, so sometimes an actress is actually just styling their
Using
own
their own
hair.
Yeah.
Do you have to sort of make the call of what is going to be more appropriate for the character?
Yes, absolutely. And one thing that maybe you don't know is that before a show, like the time when people are getting prepped and getting ready to go on stage, we only have 30 minutes with them. So
Call time is usually just
Call
half an
time is
hour,
half
which is
an
not
hour.
a lot of time.
it's not. So if you're looking at a period show or anything set back in the day, we don't have time to do a full roller set or a wet set to set their actual hair to look like this. So like Rachel has hair that is like this, but in 30 minutes we can't get it there. So
Or the actress would have to walk around all day with, you know what I mean? It'd
Yeah.
be really intrusive into their life.
it's very intrusive. And then if you don't do a wet set, you do heat products.
Yeah, that's
Or heat styling tools, and that's damaging to an actor's
Right.
hair. And you think about the fact that they go through 50 to 70 performances
right. That's true.
for a run of a show, and there's no way that an actor or I want to do that to their hair. So
Which brings up a good point, and also a topic that you will discuss in the workshop, which
Yes.
is maintenance of wigs and making
Yeah.
sure they sort of keep this, you know, because who knows what's going to happen within the show? Maybe they're running around, maybe they're rolling, you know, maybe they
on
get
the
into a
ground.
fight. Yeah, exactly.
And they're under hot lights, and they're
True.
sweating, and human hair, which these two are synthetic, but this guy is human. So it's going to fall. You know, any kind of moisture or heat or humidity, it's going to fall.
Right.
So maintenance on these wigs, I can usually do 2 or 3 performances before they really need to be reset. Some wigs, if it's an updo, you can go an entire week before resetting it. It depends every show.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's usually 8 performances at least
Yeah.
a week, so
Yeah.
that's a lot of wear.
It is a lot of
them.
wear, yeah. But
Let's talk about this other one because I
Okay.
love this updo.
yeah, this is something that so there's a window display over at the library with some of my wigs. There's even a beard in there. And this is something that I styled up just for the window and kind of slapped a label on it. This wig was actually used in our production of Breeches that just closed. And so I pulled it out and styled it up, and I'm calling it turn of the century 1890s.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, where I just threw rollers, did a wet set, and synthetic wigs you set with steam. They don't actually set on their own. Because they're plastic, you need to form the plastic in that new shape. So
Right. And you can't heat style
no,
that because it like
it
melts.
melts. Yeah. But steam, the heat from the steam somehow, science.
Sciencey stuff.
Yeah, it works. And then you let it dry, and then you style it out. So yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So this workshop that you're doing for the library is actually going to be taking place at Trinity. So you're going to
Yeah.
be bringing folks
Yes.
through your workshop, and how's it going to
so,
work?
it starts at 2 o'clock on Saturday, and we're going to start with just kind of a presentation. I'm going to talk through my process, what it means to make a wig, design hair for somebody else in a play. And then we get to go through a tour of the space, and you get to see backstage and where my little workshop is. And the presentation will be happening in the upper lobby, so that 2nd floor.
Cool. Very cool. What are you working on right now at Trinity?
We are working on ragtime.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which we're taking we're taking it in a different direction.
Oh.
We're starting modern,
Okay.
and then there's going to be one point in the show that's going to be fully realized period, and then we end in modern. So what that means for me is I have to figure out how to take either the actor's hair and make it look period for like one span of time, or for instance, Rachel Warren, she has really short hair right now because we just gave her a haircut for Breeches. So I'm making her a longer wig that looks modern, that looks like it grew out of her head, and then we're gonna throw it up halfway through the show. So it needs to be transitional.
Wow.
Which changes kind of the construction and how it's made, and yeah.
That's a lot of planning. You know, when you
Yes.
think about a cast, especially something like a musical, which generally has larger casts, and you have to think about each character's track and where they're
Yeah.
going and how many changes they may have.
Yeah, I need some answers before the rehearsal process even starts, because I
Sure.
need to know what that wig's going to go through, if it's going to be seen up or down or taken off. sometimes we'll have shows where they need to get in and out of wigs really quickly.
Hmm.
And what does that mean? So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it sounds like a lot of work, especially when you're talking about 20 hours to make a wig, but it sounds like a fun job. Do you just love what you do?
I love it so much. And you know, if you had asked me 10 years ago if I thought I'd be doing this, I would have said, what?
So crazy.
Yeah, but I love it. So
Very cool. Well, again, we'll have all the information for the workshop, which is this Saturday, at golocalprov.com, and you can see Emily's work at Trinity Rep. Emily, thank you so much for being here today.
thank you for having me. This is a blast.
That wraps up my hour. Be sure to tune in at 4 o'clock for Kate Nagel with News and Politics, and I will see you next time.